Hey guys, welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe, and as always, I'm joined by Nathan. And this week, we're talking about Parasite. Hey,
Hey.
and this is the 2019 Korean film, not the anime or manga series, which kind of wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities considering it's us. But, like, if someone came to our podcast and we said, "Hey, we're doing Parasite," they'd most likely guess that we're doing the anime, manga,
Yeah,
or live action. Any of those, not the Korean film isn't a possibility, but it wouldn't be the first option, I don't think, on people's minds.
it definitely wouldn't be.
Nah.
But we're doing this because it's on Netflix and I watched it for the first time this year. Not for this recording, but not too long ago. I think I watched it the first time like a month ago at time of recording.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yo, oh Pepe, we should do that," because I finally watched it and it was cool.
It's one of those things. I remember it came out in 2019, and like I remember it won a. Did it win a few Oscars? Is that what it was? Like, or
I'm
was it?
pretty sure it won at least one.
Yeah, I just remember it like absolutely blowing up at like with in some film awards and stuff like that. And it was one of those I think I heard about, but like much like many other Oscar nominated films, it's not really something I really look into. You know what I
No,
mean?
same.
It's like I never like if something's winning awards, I'm like, oh, that's cool for it. And unless I'm really going out of my way to see it, I I probably wouldn't go.
Yeah, same. I mean, like, generally, I'm not much of a cinema goer nowadays anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I miss most of the big films. But this was one I was, like, really interested in because it's not only was it, like, one of the first foreign films to ever
Hmm.
win an Oscar, I believe, it was also just, like, it's very rare that the internet universally agrees on something. And this was one of those things that the internet was just like, "This film is amazing."
Oh, it was like it's one of those ones where like you don't think much of it. And I remember people going crazy for it. It was just before lockdown. So like there was at the time, there are basically two big films in the cinema. It
Yeah.
was this and the Sonic movie. Uh, and it was like most people joked around when lockdown happened that it was like, oh yeah, the last thing I saw in the cinema was a Sonic movie. Like a lot of that was a lot of people's. But I didn't watch this until like I think until it came on Amazon. I think it was at the start of 2021.
Okay.
I think they like so a year after, just over a year after. And bro, like I think my reaction is probably the same as yours. You watch this, you're like, bro, that is such a good movie. But before we get any further, should we give a rundown for anyone that hasn't? Well, I'm sure, like at this point, people have, or if you clicked on this episode, you should know what Parasite is. But do you want to give a quick rundown, Nathan?
Yeah, sure. So, Parasite was created by Bong Joon-ho. Again, like every other episode where we talk about Korean media, we are sorry if we're butchering pronunciations. We are not very familiar with Korean pronunciation. We're learning, we're trying to learn slowly but surely. So
Mhm.
again, apologies, little disclaimer there. Anyway, it was originally released in May 2019, and it's about the struggling Kim family sees an opportunity when the son starts working for the wealthy Park family. Soon, all of them find a way to work within the same household and start living a parasitic life. Thank you, Google.
Right? Google, that's a new one. I don't think we've even had a
Yeah,
Google
I
source
okay.
before.
So this was the best, most concise one I could find.
Yeah,
Every
okay,
other
yeah.
one was almost like a complete breakdown, like of major scenes and stuff. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I just want quick, and I just want simple. I don't want like, oh, this character starts this part of his life, and you know what I mean. It was just like, no, I don't need a
Yeah.
long ass description.
Yeah. it's one of those movies that, like, it gets straight into it as well. This is one thing with, Parasite. It's like
pretty
you
much.
kinda you get, like, an idea of the family, like, roughly 2 minutes into the movie, and then suddenly it throws you into the scenario, and you learn more about them as the film goes on, even in that scenario. So it never for a, like, over 2-hour long film, the pace never feels like it's slowing down. Like, it's
No, it really doesn't.
like, you learn more about these people in like, as they're in this situation, you're like, "Oh, okay, this is this kind of person. This is what they do." When they start their con, it slowly becomes like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if anything, talking about pacing in the film, and it's not a bad thing, but it feels like the pace picks up as the film goes on because it's like
Mm,
time moves quickly and like the next phase happens, the next thing happens, the next thing happens, and you're like, whoa, like they are
yeah.
they are hastily moving through what seemingly is like a very carefully crafted plan.
Mm,
But it's like at the same time, whilst I say carefully crafted, like when you're like, who in their family is like the Kim family at least, who
yeah.
is coming up with all of this? Like, is it everybody in the family is now like thinking together, or is it just the son and the daughter?
I
Like,
think, like, the daughter feels like like, they even say in the film, she could be a really good con artist if she put
yeah,
her mind to it. So it feels like they kinda, like, push each other for it. So, like, once one starts doing something, the other be like, "Oh, we can do this," and then it like, basically they group together,
yeah,
and as one person, they're devious. As a group, they're, like, the most devious family. That's what you love about
yeah.
them.
You
Like,
know
that
what?
like,
That
they
makes sense.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she.
Like
Okay, so she's the mastermind, but like he's refining and coming up.
yeah.
That. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That does make
I
sense.
think, yeah, like, the even, like I feel like out of all of them, the mum probably feels like the least devious. I think she's just kind of one of those people that, like even then, like, these are all devious characters. These are all
Yeah.
characters which are literally out to like, I think that's maybe because, like, the 3 that was it, the dad and the 2 kids,
Hmm.
they get a lot of screen time as well. Actually, no, I take back exactly immediately what I just said. I feel like they have their own, like, moments, I
Yeah,
feel. I was
but
gonna
I
say that, like yeah.
I kind of agree with you though that their mum is less perceived as evil, but that's maybe because like she's probably already had her achievements. She's
Mm,
had a she's probably had more accomplishment in her life than the rest of the family because it's like the son hasn't gone to university yet, but he's smart, probably because they're too poor. The
mm.
daughter is fuck knows. She's just more into conning. Dad is always down on his luck, going from job to job. Whereas the mum was like a pro athlete, like hammer throw,
Yeah.
and she won a medal. So like maybe that's why she's less heinous in her acts because it's like, oh, the rest of them are like, ah, well, we life was
I
just beating
think
us down.
I think she like, when you look at the film in general, she's probably the one that, like, doesn't really come up with the conning, really. Like, 'cause the it all starts off with the son,
Yeah,
like, getting in, and then he gets his sister in, and then eventually they get the dad and the mum in. And the dad has his own points where it's like, "Oh, okay, he's doing shit here."
yeah,
But the mum is, like, basically out there. She is in on it, but she's doing all she can to kind of, like, defend the con at this point and keep up that ruse, like all of them are.
yeah,
And she's doing whatever she can to do that. So it's, like, they like, all these characters are so well written, though.
yeah.
Like, this is one thing, if every single one of them is, like, amazing. Um, and, like, even was it the daughter's got, like, the Photoshop skills as well.
Oh
That's,
mate, I mean, like she's got all the skills to con again. Because like what, like everything you hear, she's the one who photoshops his fake degree. She's the one who fakes the phone calls because she's like taking a bunch of random jobs like being a random like paid actor at a live event or whatever. So like
Yeah.
she's like answering the phone, pretending to be people. She's like faking out that she's got art psychology degrees and shit. Like she's the one probably like putting in the most work to con everybody.
Yeah. You can even see like when like she's doing the what was it when she becomes the tutor for
Yeah.
the kid. Like she's like I just made up I looked up some like art psychology stuff for like
Yeah, and
two
then I
seconds on Google and then
and then
fluff
I
the
made
rest.
the
It's
rest
like
of it. Oh yeah. Oh my
yeah.
god.
It's because like they've conveniently found a family which is so naive and trusting. And in some way, like he is even said by what was it his mate at the start?
Yeah.
It's like she's really simple, the mum. like
Well, it's
the-
because they've got more money than
yeah,
they know what to do with, so they're just like in
yeah,
blissful ignorance of everything. Like money solves all their
yeah,
problems.
yeah.
That is also the funniest part. You know, when sometimes they just throw in random like English as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
she interviews the son, like Kevin, as he's like presenting his name, and she's like, "Oh, I want to sit in to see how you teach. Is that okay with you?" And like she says it in
Oh, it
English,
is.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, I get it. Like he's the English tutor,
Mhm.
but it's just kind of like, all right, weird.
Like, I mean, it's even was it the housekeeper's husband that's in the basement.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I
every
love
time.
that guy. Respect.
Yeah. Honestly, that is one of the moments like that actor is just like I don't know if he's been in anything else, but he is so fucking good at doing all the creepy shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like one when you first see him introduced, he's just smacking his head against his
Oh, dude, the
bum so he
commitment to
could
smash his head on
yeah.
that. Oh,
But it's even better. I think the bit that really got me, the shot that really got me, it's when the little kid, where his mum's talking about the flashback. Is like,
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, he came downstairs one day to eat a cake and he saw something, or did they say it was a ghost or something? Did they
Yeah,
say what
like
did
a
they?
ghost or a
Yeah,
spirit or something.
yeah, and but you just see the top of the housekeeper's husband's head, and you just see it, and he just slowly comes up the stairs, and it is like that is like absolutely traumatized. You can see why this kid's having a seizure at this point.
Yeah. But that guy, oh man, now that you're reminding me, I couldn't help but laugh. Because this is now my
hmm
second time watching it. After it all kicks off the end,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he finally he's done his whole spiel like, oh, Mr. Park is respect, respect. He
yeah,
kept me alive, and then like this Park sees him, Mr. Park sees him, and
yeah.
it's like, who even is this? Because this guy's talking to him like, oh hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Park, you're the best, and he's looking at him like, who the fuck? And he's just like, respect, and he's fucking there,
Yeah. Just
yeah,
on the floor.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
like he ignores everything to just scream
Yeah.
respect at this man, and you're like, oh my god. It was just so
Uh,
funny. It broke me because like it's such a serious scene, and yet he breaks
mm.
everything just to scream respect at this guy. It's just like, oh,
God.
mental, absolute
Yeah.
mental.
Man, it's like this is the one thing as well because it's mad that like the second half of the film basically takes place over the space of 2 days as well.
Yo, that's 2 days.
Yeah, because think about it, it's like everything's gone down. They're in the house, and then they have that evening where it's
Oh
the
yeah,
the storm
shit.
happens. So it's the camping week. So like all the family are in the
Yeah.
house
Oh my
having,
god.
and then the housekeeper rings in. All this happens. That goes down in one night, and then the next day, that's when the party happens.
Holy.
It's
Oh
like
shit. Yeah, I didn't think
so
about that.
you said about the pacing that like it
Yeah.
literally goes
Oh my
it's
god.
it's it's weird when you put it in perspective like it. It's because you think, oh, maybe it's like a couple days between
No, yeah, you're
the
right. Oh my
but because
god.
the house is it's kind of like the house is flooded at this point. Because this is one thing as well. The house is flooded. Like the family are literally like in the worst position they've ever been in. Like after having the best position they've ever been in. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
It's that mirroring of like how low they get smacked down. But then the thing that gets me is like obviously their house is flooded, it's wrecked, and
By
they
the way,
had to sleep in their gym.
we're talking about the Kim family now, not the Park family.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the
yeah,
rich
context there. Yeah,
the rich people, their house is fine. The Kim
yeah,
family live
the
in
Kim fam. Yeah,
like a sub basement, like a basement kind of
yeah.
house. Like very common in Korea.
Yeah, but like the Kim family are like they're like literally like the highest they've ever been. They're all in the house, they're having their parties, they're eating all the like the food, drinking all the liquor. Like literally, they're in the best position they've ever been. Then this flood happens, and everything is ruined. Like, and then like, what was it, Mr. Parks? Even when they're hiding under the Kim family
Yeah.
hiding under the table, Mr. Parks like there just saying, don't you ever think that like Mr. Kim just smells of old radishes? Like this, and that is
Yeah.
the point where you're like, okay, shit, this man, like Mr. Park feels nothing for these people. Like he's just like, yeah, they're just below us.
Which is
Um,
sad as well, because like Mr. Kim is like just before all of that, he's like screaming at the old housekeeper, like, "Why would you do that? Why would you make these nice people go through that? Like, what did they do to
yeah,
deserve that?" It's like, wow, the
yeah,
juxtaposition
it's
of like he feels like so much for these people. He's like, "They're so nice. Why?" And then they're like,
mm,
"He fucking stinks."
yeah, and like you can see that's the moment where like the whole thing breaks out. Like they're still conning him and stuff like that, so you know for a fact. I mean, say conning, it's like basically,
I mean, they are though. Like they've all committed fraud by this point because they're forging documents. They've all
yeah,
lied about credentials and stuff because they're all, they make up these wild stories so that it's not
yeah,
traced back that they're all family. But it's like what their son is the first person to get hired because of friend recommendation. Then he lies and he's like, oh, the art tutor. What was her name? She went
yeah,
to a school in Illinois. Jessica, yeah, she went to school with my cousin, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, the drive. I had the what was it? He's Mr. Kim or whatever. Like,
yeah,
he's he was the driver for my uncle or whatever. Like
yeah,
my dad's brother. They all
yeah,
moved to Chicago. I wonder if he's still free. Like they
yeah.
that's the main point is, like, despite everything that happens to this family, they do it's written so you always remember, like, they're doing bad things, like
Yeah, it's I was like thinking like even when they're in the position of like they've got all the jobs, like the worst thing they're doing at that point is like just forgery. They're not this is one thing about the Kim family as well. They're not extorting these people out of money. They're not like kind of like oh blackmailing them or like taking anything
yeah.
from I mean, bear in mind, yeah, they're drinking all the liquor and eating all their food. Uh, but like it's not they're not like, oh, we're stealing their money, we're not doing anything like that. I mean, again, it's wrong, but at that point, they're not doing the most horrendous the most horrendous thing is obviously getting people sacked from their jobs for
Oh god.
one.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd argue the most horrendous thing is not just the sacking, it's the way in which they get her sacked.
Yeah.
That is like, come on, right? That is to me one of the worst acts. You are actively using somebody's allergies, man. You're fucking with someone's
Yeah.
allergies. That is a dangerous game that no one should do. They could have killed that woman.
They single-handedly ruined that woman's life, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
out of everyone's lives they ruin, like, that is, like, they literally just, like, throw her to the dogs, basically. And you even see when that housekeeper comes back, like, on that night, the storm night, like, when she comes back, like, her life is just, like you see her face, like, she's got, like, all these bruises and stuff like
Yeah.
that, like, I was thinking that, is that from that's not from the Peaches stuff, is it? Because
Don't know.
like, she leaves and she doesn't have any of those reactions, but,
But
like,
like, who knows?
she comes back and she's all bloodied up or whatever, like, or has all this, like just is looking rough as shit, basically.
Apparently the
Um,
what I read on Wikipedia or somewhere, I think it was Wikipedia, is that the old housekeeper and the old homeowner their relationship might get explored in a TV show or something.
oh, really?
Yeah, apparently they might be making a TV show about it,
That's an interesting
like a
one.
spin-off. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd be interested considering.
Yeah, like, expanding that universe a little bit is, like especially because you got her husband in the basement as well.
Yeah.
So like that you got like all that going on, like and have I mean that's one thing you gotta love about it, it's more like lies, and that's what this film does so well. It
Yeah.
creates that deception and makes you think, how is they gonna get through this? Like, are they gonna get caught out? Like, what is the situation here? That's what the film does the best. Um, I want to talk about the ending though, because
Okay, good. Because I also have questions.
yeah, because my one thing with the ending is he's doing the Morse code.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically ends up pushing the lights, which the old housekeeper's husband was doing to send Mr. Park messages, which Mr. Park did not know what the fuck was going on. He was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, this
I mean,
this this
old housekeeper's husband was doing it because he knew that their son, the song, was
mm,
a scout, so he should
yeah.
know Morse code.
Yeah. Because he leaving the sun was like kind of doing the help me kind of thing, like translating it
Yeah.
basically at one point. But regardless, Mr. Kim is in the basement now, and he's doing this Morse code letter to his son, who's like
As
he
far
doesn't
as
know the
he, yeah,
situation.
as
Yeah,
far as he knows, his son may or may not be looking at this. He's just
yeah.
hoping that's like his son, Kevin. Well, I guess not
Mm.
Kevin. Like, uh, Q is like actually reading, like they're like transcribing it.
And the thing is, he must be doing this on a nightly basis, and it's a lot, is what I'm trying to get at. It's a lot to do. I mean, bear in mind he's not got much else going on.
Yeah, literally
But
got nothing else going on. He lives in a
yeah.
basement now. Like, what else is he gonna do?
It's literally like he's basically like living a prison life. He can't leave. Like he goes up to get food every now and then, but that's like when the housekeeper is basically off, like looking away,
Yeah,
because the new housekeeper is of this new family that moves in is there 24 hours. So he has to run up, grab some snacks, and then run back down again.
of which I have to question his choice because in the shot that they
Mm.
have of him like explaining, oh yeah, every day I take my life into my own hands by sneaking up and getting food. That is a full fridge, right? And he goes into the fruit and veg drawer.
Yeah.
There are some big items there that they will not miss. And my guy is grabbing cherry tomatoes. What?
Of all the things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I get the logic, right? Grab some small
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
They're not gonna notice that many of the cherry tomatoes gone.
Yeah.
But like the thing is full, right? Of big fruits and stuff. You just play it off, right? They'd just be like, oh, whatever.
Mm.
If they're that rich that they can own this house, they can fill the fridge, have a live-in housekeeper whilst they are constantly out doing stuff. Bro,
Mm.
steal some of the apples, steal some of the peaches, whatever, the big stuff. Why are you taking like some cherry tomatoes here? Like, well, fuck off with the cherry tomatoes, man. What are they gonna do?
He has to make him last. He has to make But the thing for me is the Morse code thing. Because even if I was in his son's position,
Mhm.
like I understand Morse code 0%. I,
Yeah,
s-
I was gonna
I
say,
do.
I don't know it
If
either.
I was if I was in that position and I went to have a look at the like what was it like what was it? I've been released from prison or wherever it was. I'm on parole, and then I'm gonna have a look at this house from a cliffside, and I see the lights flickering. I'll be like, "Whoa, hold on a second! Yeah, that's got to be my dad in there in the basement," basically. But then it's like to be in that position to like, I guess his son. It is mentioned that his son does know Morse code a bit because he was
Yeah,
in the scouts. Yeah,
he was in the scouts and he says like, I'm a scout by nature.
yeah, and it's one of those ones where it's. uh, I would, if I was in that position, I'd be like, "Well, this is fine. I have to learn Morse code, and if I do learn Morse code, I got to sit there in the freezing cold or where however long it is, like doing the dot dot dash dash kind of thing."
Yep.
And like we've played keep
Keep
talking, nobody
talking,
explodes.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's a Morse code thing
and
there
we fuck it
in
up
that game.
every time.
We every damn time because you're just guessing that. I would just be so awful. I just watch every time I see this film, I watch that scene, I'd be like, I would be so useless here. I would,
Well,
like
you
I would be able to do nothing in this situation.
now that you bring it up about being useless in that as well, like, I know they portray the police following them as inept as well, because like, the scene literally just before that is when the son is, like, going around putting up pizza leaflets, and a fucking
Yeah.
cop, like, trips down the stairs, smashes into a bunch of
Mhm.
stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, they're still following us." If they're following them that closely, why is not one of those cops followed him into the forest? Like, if they're surely, right, if you're following these people because 'cause you're trying to find the one guy, Mr. Kim, who killed someone, right? You're looking
Mhm.
for your perp. If you know one of the people you're following is going somewhere, especially into a forest, don't you think, "Oh, I'd follow them in because they're probably that's where he's hiding, somewhere in the forest,"
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even if you're inept cop that's tripping down the stairs, you would still send one of your inept cops who's probably gonna get lost in the woods somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Surely?
I think that is the whole thing is like you said, the that cop thing is just feels like a theme throughout
Yeah,
the whole movie. Like, was it when he wakes up from the
yeah,
his coma or whatever it is, and the police officer's reading him his rights, and he's just laughing in his face,
yeah.
and
He's
the
like,
police
"What's he
officer,
laughing?"
you have the right to remain silent. He's laughing. He's like it's just this police officer's just freaking out because like he's laughing in his face. But
Okay, so I need you to answer me this because
mhm,
the part of the ending I wanted to discuss is
yes.
so he it's right after that is the part
Yeah.
I'm confused at is
Mhm.
so he does all of that. He does the Morse code. He figures it out. He's like,
Mhm.
I know what I got to do, and he starts writing his own letter. And like you hear the narration.
Yeah.
So are we supposed to believe that that part where he buys the house again and his dad comes up actually does happen, or is he just imagining it? Because right after that, it cuts back and he's sat there. He's just finished reading the letter out loud, and now he's just
Yeah.
staring into the lens and like looking off blissfully. So are we supposed to believe that that actually happened, or is he just
No,
imagining it?
I believe it's a dream sequence kind of thing. I think it's like that imagine like this is my goal and this is what I'm gonna
See,
do.
that's what I thought too. But then
Yeah.
the second viewing, I was like, wait, like, but did that happen or not? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like an Inception thing.
I think it could be open to interpretation with that. I feel like it could be I I could see it both ways. My initial thought is, oh, okay, it didn't happen because it fades to black and
Yeah.
it is him just sat in that room, and that's what I think. Like, and plus, to get to that point where he's been before as well, like he needs to be making a shit ton of money, go
Well,
to university and stuff like that. And I
that's why
think
I
it's
was
like,
like, did it happen?
yeah,
Because like, he's like, I'm gonna make so much money and I'm gonna buy the house.
mm,
But
yeah,
that's why I started thinking about it more again the second viewing because I was like, but in this, he hasn't changed all that much.
mm,
I'm like, he couldn't have aged that much. I get it. The whole point of this film in the universe is if he had that much money, he could probably pay for all the plastic surgery he wants or whatever
yeah,
and still look the same until that point. But I'm like, but his mom's still around and she hasn't
yeah,
changed much. And he hasn't changed
no,
much. His dad hasn't aged at all. So I'm like, is this is that are they portraying this as like this happened but only a few years in the future? Because like you said, he's gonna have to earn a shit ton of money in a short amount of time.
one, he's got to go to university as well, so that's going to take a
Yeah,
fair few years. Two, he's actually got to build a business and a good enough business to be making millions enough to
exactly.
buy this house. And it's going to be one of those ones that, like, also, how is he getting this letter to his dad as well? Is the thing.
Um, I never thought that part because I was like, well, he isn't. Let's face it,
Yeah,
he isn't because his
yeah,
dad is subterranean by this point. He's a mole man.
yeah,
He doesn't
yeah,
he doesn't get to see daylight anymore. So There is no
Yeah.
way his dad's getting this letter, which is weird that he would also write it in Morse code because, like, who the fuck is his dad? Can't even see it. Like, who's like? I mean, it's for his own benefit,
The
really.
only
Let's
way
face
you
it.
can kinda do it is if he goes up into those mountains again, hope the dad's walking around the living room and he carries a torch with him and just kinda, like, just
Yeah,
flicks it
but
on
I
and
mean,
off a
like,
little bit.
what are the chances of that if his dad's like, oh, just to steal food from the fridge, which is
I
a
mean,
couple of staircases
Na
up?
Nathan, to be fair, the dad's going up there every single well, he's not going anywhere, but he's doing the Morse code message every single night.
I mean, yeah,
Wait, hold
that.
on, if he's doing the message every single night, it doesn't really give him enough time to actually see the other message response.
Well,
Doesn't give him
also,
time to see the
like,
responses. Like,
the switches for the light are in the basement,
yeah,
so
so
he
he
can do that every night. But again, like, if he's saying, "Oh, it's dangerous just to go get food,"
one, he doesn't have enough time to be in the living room deciphering Morse code.
I mean, yeah, that too. I mean, the man's only got enough time to go steal a handful of cherry tomatoes, let alone sit there all
Yeah.
night whilst this son, like,
Yeah.
dash, dash, dot, dot.
It's a lot, and that's a long letter as well. This is one
Yeah.
thing, like, both of these letters are long as hell.
Also, the
Um,
sun is out there, like, in the fucking snow. Like, I don't know how long you want to be out there, like, doing your
yeah.
whole fucking letter as well, with the off chance that your dad, who's living in a basement, also happens to sneak into the living room with a pen and paper and, like, notes down your fucking
Yeah.
letter as well.
There's not enough time. You just have to hope that the current housekeeper that's in that house is like off sick somewhere or
Yeah.
like doing something else. Like you'd have to hope that you have that enough time to be like, yeah,
Well, like, the dad would also be there for ages as well, because it shows when he's writing a letter, he needs, like, a cheat sheet. So,
yeah,
he would
yeah, exactly,
also,
yeah, yeah.
if he ever got the chance to look at the letter, he'd still need, like, 2 bits of paper, one to write it down and one to be like, what is that? What is that?"
Oh man, it's a lot. It's a lot to. There's a lot of barriers there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
barriers. I guess these people do have a lot of time on their hands. In fairness, I guess, but um, there's one person in this movie which I really want to know what's gone on with him. Is was it his mate at the start,
Oh,
Min?
yeah, yeah.
Because Min's basically like, look, I need you to tutor this girl. Like, I trust you because all the university frat boys are going to be all over her. And Min's like, you know what? Yeah, just go tutor, it'll be fine. And this escalates into a whole other thing. I want to know how Min's reaction is to this because he, in turn of giving this guy a tutoring position, he's got this family. The dad's been killed. The
Yeah.
family's moved out and also the guy he trusted not to get with this girl, who's in high school, which is a little bit weird anyway, gets with her anyway.
Yep.
So
Everything he didn't want to happen, happened.
has happened and has gotten so much worse. Like everything that could be the worst case scenario in his mind is so much worse than that worst case scenario. He's not even thinking, yeah, this my mate, yeah, he's well sound. I'll get him a tutor, but he's also gonna bring his whole family into the house, start conning people, start forging documents, and all this kind of stuff. I want to know. Min must be like reading the paper one day, be like, "Oh fuck," that,
Well, like,
like
that's the best part is that he's also overseas. He's,
yeah,
like, studying abroad and, like, what, get Kiwoo is, like, also like, "Oh, yeah, often I think, what would Minyuk do? And what would my friend do? The one who got me the job, so that I would stop other people from stealing his girl whilst I steal his girl. What would he do in this situation?" It's like, oh, apparently he would con the rest of this family, ruin a bunch of lives, um, and then also just destroy it for the friend of which inspired me and helped me out for when he comes back.
I'm starting to think that he doesn't really know Min at all. I don't think Min would do this. He really is mate like this. It's
Who knows, man? We barely see Min do anything. He come,
yeah, he's in that first scene and then
yeah.
you just never see
Well,
him.
that's because he
Never
probably
again.
went abroad after that. But like, he literally turns up out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
nowhere, stops a guy from pissing outside of their house, outside their windows, essentially, and then gives them this giant fucking rock,
I love The Rock.
and
Rock's like my
then
favorite thing.
yeah, gives them this giant rock, tells Q like, yeah, you're a smart guy, just you can do this easy. Go take over my job, look after my girl, make sure that make sure no one tries to steal my girl, and then I'll come back later and we'll be cool, innit?
Proceeds literally in first few lessons proceeds to steal his girl.
The only thing they don't do is burn the house down.
Yeah,
Like, when you're like, worst case scenario, like, someone died, the job's basically not there anymore. The family have had to leave, move out, everything. Like, they've done almost everything short of just burning the whole place down to the ground.
they just ruined everything. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, right, well.
Like,
I'm sure he's having a lovely time abroad though.
yeah, could you imagine? I mean, just over there, like, studying something. He gets fucking the news on his phone, and he's just like, what the fuck, dude? You was only meant to tutor the girl. That shit.
Oh goodness. Oh, it's funny, but like we don't shit on the film by the way. This is
No. This is just us headcanon now, yeah.
yeah, it is all headcanon. It's like it's those what if scenarios, isn't it? Like it's
Bro, in that
it's
scenario,
crazy. Like,
if I was Min, I'd be like, I'm not going back to Korea. I'm just gonna stay
no,
wherever I'm studying.
absolutely not. No,
Start a
no,
new
yeah,
life
that's
here.
it.
There's nothing left for me back there.
Absolutely not. Like you just disassociate from everyone. Be like, yeah, okay, that's it.
Right? Like, if the friend you thought you could trust, like, thoroughly destroyed everything in a very short amount of time, you might as well just be like, I'm starting a new life wherever I am.
Yeah, that's it. This change my name.
Yeah.
Go. He probably has an English name to be fair, so he's probably going by that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's easy thing to get away with. Forge some documents, start tutoring some other people in a different country, and start taking over their lives. How about that? Min's doing the exact. See, this is where we find out that. Like his mates actually got Min spot on. He's like, what would Min do in this situation? Min is literally going to another
Yeah,
country.
he's doing it in, like, America or something, but
Yeah.
tutoring in Korean or something.
Cheering.
Yeah, he's gone to, like, a
Yeah.
rich American family. He's tutoring in their daughter in Korean. Like, but instead of, like, oh, it's his family, he's like getting his, like, I don't know, getting his bros, his classmates or some shit. Like,
It's all his American frat boys.
yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, like Parasite, great film though. Absolutely love it.
Oh, it was, I don't want to say overhyped. It's a very good film.
Mm.
But I think maybe the fact that I watched it so many years after, like, it's a very good film and it does deserve its accolades. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, people's reactions when it's, oh, make it seem like it's the best fucking thing ever. And it's like,
I can understand that completely because when you go in blind and have very no, I wouldn't say I had low expectations. Obviously, I knew it won Academy Awards and stuff like that. But it is one of those films that I think it arguably does deserve a lot of the hype as well.
yeah,
I would say this because like it's one of those ones I feel like I've watched this I think for the fourth time. This is the fourth time I've seen it. And
mhm,
there's not a lot of films that I can watch like four times. I'm one of those people. Once I've seen something, unless it's like one of my really favorite films, I can't really watch it more than once. So I'm
yeah,
like,
same.
it has to be a really good film to be like have repeat watches. And I've watched this yeah four times now. And it's one of those ones where it keeps me engaged every single time as well. Like it's I actively enjoy watching this every time I've seen it, and it does. There's certain bits where you kind of forget, like, oh, how did that happen again? Oh, yeah, it's this. Like, because there's a massive gap between my second and third watches because I watched this back in November last year,
Mhm,
and at that point I was like, I remember this being a good film, but I can't remember all the ins and outs of it.
yeah,
So this fourth watch, I was like, okay, I know how this happens. And there's little bits here and there, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But arguably, it's a film that I can be engaged with every time I watch it, and I think it is like really good for that point. Really, I think.
I mean, I completely agree. Again, the first time I watched this was maybe a month ago,
Yeah.
and Pepe knows I'm also the same. I don't tend to rewatch things in that short
Mm.
amount of time because I typically would be like, I remember, so I whatever. But this film, even though I saw it very recently, watching it again, I was hooked as well. Like
Mm.
I still remembered how things happened, but it was still just like, oh man. It was like the hype of seeing it again, which is weird because a lot of times
Yeah.
people are like, I want to experience it for the first time again. Every subsequent experience is like you get something, but it's not the same. But somehow
Mm.
this, even with the second viewing, I was like, oh man, yeah, this scene, like, oh my god, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Like, and I don't often have that experience either. Like, it was definitely similar, but now it's like this extra layer because I was like, I remember how it all links together. I remember where it leads to, and now it's like, oh man, they are so evil because of this and then that, and then oh my god,
I'll tell you what, like one of the scenes that I completely forgot about, and I felt like I hadn't like every time I've watched a film, I must have missed it or something. Is the very first scene of the movie? You know where they're trying to get Wi-Fi
yeah.
and they're looking around trying to scramble and get it and stuff like that. It's one of those ones that for some reason I must have forgot that it happened or something because I watched it, like I don't remember this bit. Like literally the very, very first scene, like literally the opening dialogue, everything
Yeah.
like that. I was like, I don't remember that. I remember the folding the pizza boxes. I remember everything like that, like the jobs and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But that very first scene, like, and then it kicks in like about literally 1 minute later. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, everything else is exactly as I remember it.
See,
But
I have the only reason I remember that very first scene is just because it's relatable to us. In
yeah,
Do you remember back in the day when signal wasn't so readily
yeah,
available because the towers weren't all up?
yeah,
And do you remember waving your phone around
yeah.
as high up as you
It's
could in
literally yeah.
like that's the reason I remember it is because I'm like, oh man, I remember having to do that. Like, oh, how many bars you got? I got two. I got two. When you're like
I
standing
mean,
there, like, or you're standing on some chairs or some shit. Like, you're building towers to stand on and be like, oh, I got it. Quick, quick, quick. Make that phone call or send that text.
right. So bear in mind right now, like my area here is almost a dead zone in terms of signal. I rely on my Wi-Fi a lot here. Like I've literally got one bar. Like if I hold my phone up, like I don't like. Oh, let me just stand up for 2 seconds here. Hold on, let me
The
adjust
hilarious
myself.
thing is the signal's not bad where I am, especially for my provider. But
Yeah.
I've only got two, maybe three right now. I also rely heavily on Wi-Fi, but
Yeah.
I think personally, at least in my setup right now, and
Mhm.
Pepe will know, I've just got so much stuff that gives off a signal. I think
Yeah.
I'm actually actively causing my own misery. I was like, if I needed to make a phone call off of my provider, right? Like my mobile
Yeah.
phone provider, I think I do just have so many devices in my room that give off a signal that I think I'm actually actively slightly jamming the signal.
You're just
Yeah, there's like,
ruining everything. Yeah.
well, because like everything gives off a radio wave, innit? Like, and it
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
Pepe knows almost all of my technology in here is probably Wi-Fi enabled, so it probably
Oh
is
yeah.
blocking out the phone signal slightly.
I mean, possibly because I'm almost in a very similar situation to you. Like I like think about the stuff that we have,
Yeah,
like between the two of us. Like it's pretty much the same thing. Like you don't have a smart speaker, do you?
I do technically. My clock is also a smart clock, so
Oh,
it's a
is it?
speaker and
Oh,
all
is it
of
one of
that.
those? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. So maybe that's like the closest thing because I've got two of those, and I'm still literally. I was walking around my room
yeah,
very briefly there, and
yeah.
I've
Whilst I
the
was
signal
talking
did
about that,
the signal did not change at all. By
see,
the way, it
the
is
only
still the one
difference,
bar.
the only difference between you and me is, I think there's more mobile towers, like signal towers, closer to me. That's it.
Yeah, there's not really much around here. I think I'd have to go a few minutes down the road to find a single time. But I rely on Wi-Fi for everything, and that's what
I
they were
mean,
doing. They were relying off
yeah,
cafe Wi-Fi's.
all the free Wi-Fi's. Yeah, well, I mean, they live
Yeah.
again. They live. I think it was actually shortly. Was it after the film or before this film? I
Mhm.
remember laws were getting changed in Korea because they were like, yeah, these like basement housings were like
Mhm.
super common, and lots of
Mm.
people actually did live that lifestyle, and they were like dying because it's very poor living. So
Yeah, yeah.
like the laws were changing or have changed by this point. Not entirely sure. Um, to make that illegal because again, it is pretty
Wow.
inhumane if you think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
Like I understand like quality of living, like we all can't afford to, live in apartments and stuff like somewhere decent. Sometimes you got
Mm.
to do what you got to do, but like yeah, those like basement level like underground housing with no lighting, no natural lighting, no like access to the outside world essentially once you're inside.
Mm.
I mean like in the film their toilet is literally on a weird pedestal.
Yeah, yeah, it's, like, really high up.
So like I'm kind of whether it was this film or not, I can't remember. Again,
Mhm.
it feels like quite a while ago. But I'm just glad that like things did change for people, like that those types of housings because it's not just Korea. I
Yeah.
think it was actually fairly common in other places in Asia as well. So, but I
Mm.
know I remember reading in Korea they were changing that, so I'm quite glad that happened at least.
Yeah. You know what's just occurred to me, which is so wild, that, like, even though we've been saying 2019 this whole time, that's literally 5 years ago
Yeah.
at this point, and that is bizarre to me. Like, everything about it, that it feels like, "Oh, yeah, I watched this film 2, 3 years ago." No, it's literally 5, and it feels weird, bro. That's, like, it's
I mean, I feel like that's
strange.
it
Yeah.
happens every now and again for us like that.
Mm.
Sometimes a lot of the times we try and keep up with like newer stuff, so it's like, oh yeah, it came out like a year ago, 2 years ago, it came out this year.
Yeah.
But there are times, and we've been doing it recently as well, like this, Initial D, some of the older stuff where you're like,
Some
oh, this
proper
came out a
throwback, yeah.
long time ago. There's like obviously this isn't like that long ago. Initial D was like in the 90s.
Mm.
For fuck's sake. But like, it's still like for at least when we do things, sometimes if it's over like 2 years, we forget that it's like, oh shit, that was a while ago.
It is a long, like, it's bizarre to me, like, the time flies that quickly. It
It
feels
really
like
does.
yesterday, man.
It really does.
Yeah. But, have you got anything else you wanna say about this film, Nathan, before we wrap this up?
I would say, for whatever reason, if you haven't seen this film and you got this far, sorry for the spoilers. However, do go watch the film though. It
Yeah.
is really, really good. Like such
Yeah.
a good film. It is definitely now like on my list, very high up, at least in top
Mm.
10.
Yeah, I get that completely. I think it's even like if you have watched it before, like if this discussions makes you want to go back and rewatch it, 100% do. As I said before, I've seen this 4 times now, and I've never had like I never felt bored watching it. I've always
Yeah.
felt like this is a really good rewatch, like every time. So like just go ahead and rewatch it is my thing.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. Like just like relive that story because it is like again the characters are fantastic, like the shots, like everything about it is like on point. Like so, give it a rewatch. Like if you got free time this weekend, do it. Watch it tonight.
Oh, I
Do
kind
it.
of want to watch it tonight, and I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. Cancel your plans. Watch Parasite. That's what we're saying here. But yeah, this brings the episode to an end. Thank you for listening, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about Parasite in the comments below. Check the links in our description. We have got our X and our podcast platforms there as well. And yes, we will see you next time for another Cultured Boys episode. Bye bye.
Bye.